Okay, looks like we're live on Zoom. Now for live on YouTube. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sheila Corona. Welcome to Sassy Seer Sheila. Today is Wednesday. There we are. Yep. Wednesday, April the 16th, 2025. And I hope you're all doing well. Feels like something specific is trying to come in. I'm not sure what. I can tell you this. I have been experiencing my own self a lot of, I shared yesterday some really deep things being brought to the surface, you know, like, of course, Epona's wild daughter would come up from the fairies. I always kind of associate that with shadow work. As you can tell, here I am just speaking on it, and there's Epona's wild daughter coming up. I don't know if anyone else is experiencing this. I know I am. Whatever this is at this juncture that's trying to surface for me is so deep and so old. Some of it may be generational that I can't put my finger on, but some of it has also been all the way back to so little that I have no cognizant memory of. You know, like 1, 2, 3 years old, if you will. Trip the Light Fantastic, Dance with the Universe. Card number 23, which is a 5 numerologically. I mean, I'm not feeling bad physically, so that's a really good thing. I'm actually quite pleased that it is coming up in this particular way. So I like that this says Trip the Light Fantastic, Dance with the Universe. Because there's a part of me that feels like maybe we're getting to some really good and juicy stuff that will sort of set me free in a lot of ways. I don't know why that I said it like that, but that's how it feels. One. Ooh, fire, tribal fire, sun. Well, that's interesting. Fire, tribal fire, sun. Wow, that's a huge fire card, isn't it? Let's see what else we have. Today is my local Wise Women Circle meeting, and I'm so looking forward to that. There we go. Oh, wow. We had this card the other day. Elephant Leadership. Ganesha is a remover of obstacles or the placer of obstacles in your path, depending upon what it is that needs to be addressed, right? So that's very interesting that that come up today. There's a lot up for interpretation at this moment for me. Is something that's coming right this minute. It's not lost on me that I just had a bit of a conversation with my housemate about interpretation, about perspective, perception, about perspective, right? Card number 32, Devotion to the Small, came out. That's 2 5s now. Card number 23 is a 5 numerologically, and card number 32 is a 5 numerologically. The 5 for me is all about change. I think I shared yesterday that that's one of my primary fears, according to my Black Moon Lilith, being the shadow of order, which carries with it that primary fear. And since change is the only constant in the universe, Yahoo! Haha, surrender denial. Sometimes, I don't know about you, but for me personally, I can be in denial and not even realize it. No, I'm not in denial about something, which is a denial itself, right? Accept people and situations exactly as they are without denying the difficulties. Then you can see clear things clearly and make the best decisions. I feel that on a whole new level. So there's something about, because we are each unique, vessel doesn't seem quite the right word either. Container is not the right word. Is I keep being shown that the divine is expressing itself through this vessel. And as it does so, all the little quirks, all the little experiences that I've ever had, that which calls itself Sheila has ever had, goes into that expression, which is the entire point. To be completely unique, to experience the creation from the vantage point of this unique vessel, and to create a completely unique and different experience for the divine with the divine. There's something specific about accept people and situations exactly as they are without denying the difficulties. Then you can see things clearly and make the best decisions. As there are decisions that are, for me, quickly approaching, right? Decisions to be made, things to do, that sort of thing. Okay, so I think the Alchemy Elementals wants to go first. The Fire, Tribal Fire Sun card. Fire, tribal fire, sun is on page 18, which numerologically is a 9. Again, end of cycle. Fires are calling you, the fires are calling you to gather in ceremony. You are being asked to facilitate a meeting of hearts and minds and spirits. Gather your tribe together as one in nature so that you can honor the fire that lights our solar system. The fire that burns in the heart of the earth, as well as the fire that lives in the heart of all beings. Call together your nearest and dearest and prepare a ritual so that you can pray together and vision together, so that together you can amplify the creative power of your union and of the sacred fire around which you are gathered. Now, this is kind of interesting because just prior to the pandemic, I was feeling called to have a gathering during solstice. Well, and at that time I was feeling equinox, the spring equinox. But I also felt like that was too short a time and was considering the solstice. And by the time the equinox came and everything really came out about what we were getting ready to move through, that just sort of went on the back burner. And when I say gathering, I mean all those who felt called to gather, to, you see, in August of, no, it wasn't August, it was in July of 2016, I felt to have a gathering, and we had 14 folks show up from all across the United States. And I have felt that again. Now, that's very interesting that this come up now. So I'm going to have to hold this card aside. I'm going to read this again for myself. The fires are calling you to gather in ceremony. You are being asked to facilitate a meeting of hearts and minds and spirits. Gather your tribe together as one in nature so that you can honor the fire that lights our solar system. The fire, and that's why I'm feeling summer, the summer solstice. The fire that burns in the heart of the earth, as well as the fire that lives in the heart of all beings. Call together your nearest and dearest and prepare a ritual so that you can pray together and vision together. This feels like it's about the community that I know I will at one point be a part of. Together, you can amplify the creative power of your union and the sacred fire around which you are gathered. Well, doesn't that sound interesting? I'm going to have to feel into that, do a bit of meditation about that, because that feels very huge to me. Wow. I'm not even sure how I would go about something like that right now. And if you are seeing this and you get anything about it, reach out to me. Let me know what's coming up for you where that's concerned. I know that there's not really been much of the community feel. I feel community, but on the channels here, there hasn't been a lot of feeling of gather. So I'm not quite sure what this is in relation to. So that's very interesting. And I have a feeling that some of you, one of you at least, that will see this at some point will know what this is about. You may be able to assist me in feeling into that more. So I'm going to go with the Divine Animal Oracle, the elephant, and see what this has to say. Now, it's 10, which numerologically is a 1. The key word here is leadership. There is a time to step forward and lead, and it is now. Be the leader in your own life. If you want something achieved, take the lead yourself. Be the example that others will follow. Do not lead by force, but instead by inspiration. Well, that's all I could ever do because I can only take charge of me. That's all any of us can ever do. You can only change yourself. You can't change anybody else. The Hindu god Ganesha was shaped from the earth by the goddess Parvati. When her husband Shiva returned after a long time away from home, the first thing he saw was a handsome young man with Parvati. In his anger, he attacked the young man, severing his head. Parvati then revealed who Ganesha was, and Shiva sent his soldiers to return with the head of any sleeping being that was facing the north. An elephant was found, and its head was attached to the body of Ganesha. The life of Ganesha was restored, and Shiva declared that from then on, this elephant-headed young man would always be loved by the community and his name invoked as a joyful blessing prior to the beginning of major undertakings such as businesses, developments, and projects of all kinds. And since I'm feeling this whole gathering thing and visioning has something to do with community, that's very interesting. It would be Ganesha who made sure no obstacles would be placed in the way of righteous actions, but it was also he who placed obstacles to encourage people to take different directions. Today, Ganesha is one of the most loved of all Hindu gods. Everywhere you turn in modern India, there is the joyful elephant-headed deity balancing on one leg, often riding on a mouse, pushing away your worries and negativity and leading you toward the best path possible. Elephants are richly represented in mythos in Africa and Asia. Most tales speak of their wisdom and strength and their ability to guide through difficult circumstances. The animal. There are 3 species of elephants living on Earth at present: the African bush elephant, the African forest elephant, and the Asian elephant. All species of elephants have long prehensile trunks they use for breathing, food gathering, and communicating, and to collect water for drinking and washing. The trunk is also used in combination with the body for pushing objects out of the animal's path. Elephants have amazing padded feet that are designed to spread their weight over a wide area and enable them to move silently considering their size. They vocalize both sonically and infrasonically, or low frequency. Scientists have measured infrasonic communications of African elephants from 15 to 35 hertz, with sound pressure levels as high as 118 decibels, allowing communication for up to 10 kilometers through the ground. While humans may not be able to understand what these calls mean, they can certainly perceive the vibrations. Elephants live in family groups and often join with other family groups to form large herds. These are matriarchal and are led by an experienced older matriarch. She holds the landscape memory for the group, often being able to lead them to water in times of scarcity, and will be the organizer of defense if the group is threatened. Elephants are highly intelligent and demonstrate a rich emotional life. They openly mourn their dead and revisit the skeletons of those they once knew who have died. The magic. Elephant magic is powerful yet calm. It can be used when you wish to have obstacles removed or to move out of a limbo situation. Elephants are wise and take leadership. Wait a minute. Yes, elephants are wise and take leadership, which is where their magic is so effective. If you wish to become a better leader, or at least a wiser one, or you would like to attract such a person into your life, ask for the elephant to lend her energy to you. The symbology: an elephant with a raised trunk, elephant-headed boy, warrior with an elephant head, elephant with a mouse. And the status: African elephants are vulnerable, mainly due to poaching. Asian elephants are endangered due to habitat destruction. There's something very specific about the obstacles here for me in regards to surrendering denial, as well as the tribal fire sun card, the idea of a gathering. So that's very interesting to me. Let's just see. I think it's Epona's wild daughter wants to go next from the fairies. Let's see what she has to offer here. Card number 54. So yet another 9. End of a cycle. Epona's wild daughter. The key words for this card are inner shadows, nightmare, depression, madness, growth. In the bleakest part of the night, Dorcha comes wearing her crown of fairy stars. She kneels on the ancient owl, bearer of the hidden wisdom of the night, and facing into the past with a clear, unflinching gaze, she holds us. We are held immobile, inwardly focused by her comforting yet implacable light-filled hands. She asks riddles that often seem impossible to answer at first, and yet she will not let us go until we find the solutions within ourselves. She is one of the great teachers of fairy, but her method of teaching makes Socrates' questions look like child's play. We must expect this of Dorcha, because her lessons are about the shadow side of ourselves, the things we fear, our insecurities, self-doubts, and denials. Well, isn't that interesting? She is a practitioner of tough love therapy. Dorcha is the wild daughter of Epona, lady of the horse and the moon, and she takes us through the dark, hidden side of ourselves and into healing and fulfillment. From the temporary madness of rage, premenstrual tension, or great stress to the deeper and longer psychoses, she drives us on the journey through our internal hells. When we complete the journey, we are transfigured and transformed, transcending our old selves. We can never be frightened by that darkness again, whether our own or that of others. But until that journey is fully complete, we exist in a state of vulnerability, which is where most of us are most of the time. Isn't that a true statement? Notice, please, that it is she and not her more gentle sister, Laced, who wears the crown of stars, a mark of service, compassion, and great wisdom. Dorcha's element is moonlight, the fifth element, which tempers and tests the spirit. Through her teaching, our inner conflicts and struggles become, as they are resolved, our greatest strengths. Epona's wild daughter, Dorcha, is the Sphinx, whose riddles must be answered lest we otherwise be destroyed by our own internal conflicts. Dorcha reminds us that we cannot go forward until we have faced something buried within us that is holding us back. And I know this is true for myself. In a huge way, this is why I'm not at all surprised to see this today. Her presence in a reading tells us that finding and working through this is a task of some urgency. We can expect help in this from other people, from the fairies, and from our dreams, but we must be open to these difficult questions and answers and be ready to face things about ourselves that are not as we would wish them to be. She urges us to heal the unresolved issues about who we really are and what we truly want to be. This is part of the required course in Self-Transformation 101 that we are all enrolled in here on planet Earth. The answers to her riddles often come in a sudden burst of enlightenment, like the solution to a Zen koan. We may watch a leaf fall or catch a glimpse of the tiny sliver of the new moon in the sky, and suddenly, nope, somebody was trying to call me. Isn't that interesting? The answers to her riddles come in a sudden burst of enlightenment, like the solution to a Zen koan. We may watch a leaf fall or catch a glimpse of the tiny sliver of the new moon in the sky and suddenly be hit by the answer. Before that happens, we usually work long and hard upon the question, searching and digging for an answer. The realization, when we really have it, will be transformative. We will no longer be the people that we once were. And that's a true statement, as I have I have changed so much over the last few years. I am not at all the person I started out to be on this journey. You don't like this interpretation? Well, I have been telling you all along that we, you and I, and everyone else, will all receive varying messages from the fairies on the cards. And I know that that's true too. The whole thing is an individuated thing. Yours may well differ from mine, and it won't may well, it absolutely will, if you ask me. Ask Dorcha what message she has for you, and don't be surprised if her answer is another question or riddle. She and I both wish you well in solving it with all our hearts. No, that's a really true thing, man. Because we are each so different and we understand everything from our oh, wait a minute, where did this one come from? There was a second oh wow, that's very interesting. There was a second animal card and I did not see it until just now. That's interesting because it's as though it just appeared in the pile of cards here. But it absolutely, and it's not lost on me that it's the horse. And the key word is freedom. Wow. Card number 24. That and it opened almost on 24, just one page away from it. Freedom. Horse, to be truly free, we must learn true independence. Trust yourself, as listening to people who may have other agendas is not the way to make good, clear decisions. That's so true. Individuation from our parents is a natural process, although it is often fraught with difficulty on both sides. Your true power resides in your ability to always know you have a choice, and that choice is always yours to make. The mythos. There was once a young king who lived in a castle upon a great hill, who had just been newly crowned. So he began looking for a queen. He was out riding one day and saw a woman who was riding her huge white stallion as well, if not better, than he rode. Her horse flew across the fields, and the woman's hair streamed long and wild behind her. The king kicked on his horse and, after some time, caught up with her. Her face was flushed, her smile bright, and her words joyful. Their eyes met, and they fell deeply in love. After a time, the young king realized Rhiannon, for that was her name, who was loving, loyal, gentle, wise, and fair, was all he wanted in a queen. He asked her to marry him, and she accepted with grace. Rhiannon's responsibilities as queen would now be taken over from the queen regent, and while it would be natural for the mother of the king to be pleased for her son, secretly she was vastly jealous of her usurper and resented her loss of personal power. Soon a beautiful blue-eyed son with a star-like birthmark on his leg was born. To protect him, Rhiannon kept her baby with her as she slept in her chambers. One morning when Rhiannon woke, her baby was gone from her, and in his stead was a great pool of blood. She screamed in horror. The queen regent yelled, Look, she has killed her baby. I knew she wasn't to be trusted. Rhiannon insisted the baby had been taken, but the Queen Regent was not to be convinced. The king asked Rhiannon where the baby was, but she confessed she did not know. Rhiannon's son had been kidnapped by the Queen Regent in the night. She had killed a chicken and used its blood to make the scene against Rhiannon. The Queen Regent had decided to raise the son as her own, and he was safe but hidden. Rhiannon was put on trial, and she made no defense, and so was found guilty of her son's murder. The king, still so in love with her, could not kill her, but instead sentenced her to a job that would bring huge shame to her every day. As the castle was up on a high hill, visitors were given a horse to travel to the top. Rhiannon's new job was to take the place of one of the hard-working horses and carry people to the top of the castle on her back. Every day she struggled with her guilt, never raising her head. She slept in the stables with the horses, curled up and crying. Rhiannon gradually became aware of the importance of the work that the horses did beside her. People couldn't get to the castle without them, and they bore the work with strength and focus. She also realized the horses were set free at night, and they ran, played, loved, and foraged, mindful of that moment. She decided that she too would follow their example, bearing the guests with strength and focus and enjoying her freedom at the end of the day instead of hiding in shame. On one of these evening walks, she saw the Queen Regent playing with a little boy in a lower courtyard of a farm. He was on a small pony. She thought the king must have remarried quickly. The small boy lost his balance and fell. The Queen Regent checked him over for cuts, and as she did so, the little boy's trouser leg was lifted. And I bet we're going to find out that the birthmark there on his leg was a birthmark in the shape of a star. Rhiannon realized this was her own son and that she had been tricked. She called the local people together to witness the boy and confirm the mark on his leg. Happily, the king had not stopped loving Rhiannon and reinstated her as queen, banishing his mother into exile. Rhiannon never forgot the lessons of the horses who had worked beside her, and from then on, no horse was a beast of burden in their kingdom, but instead a symbol of power and freedom. The mythos about horses or featuring horse deities encircle the world. Wherever horses were found or heard of, deities linked to horses include Epona, which we just had. That's quite interesting to me. Etane, Apollo, Poseidon, Recep, Suna, Odin, Neptune, and Equestor. Okay, that is too interesting to me. And not to mention, she's depicted on all fours there. She's looking to the past, and he's looking to the future, freedom. Okay, so there's something very, not to mention, I didn't even see this card come out of the deck. So could it be that something that I'm not seeing, something none of us, unbeknownst to us, can show itself at any time? Wow, would be the one thing. One of the things that was said either in this one or in one of these that I've read so far, there was something about being open, and I recall it coming in at the time, but I didn't say it. That is the most important thing one can do when considering things like shadow work, is to be open to seeing deeply within self. So there's something about that. Wow. I'm sorry, but I did not know that Epona would come out, is even mentioned in this card. That is so interesting to me. So the animal, besides the dog, there is perhaps no other animal that has shared such a close and integral relationship with humans. Horses have been a partner for humans in their discovery of the world, in wars, in the production of hunting of food, in the production and hunting of food, and as a riding companion. Without horses being domesticated, huge numbers of cultures would have found it impossible to trade, roam, discover, and conquer vast territories. The human race owes horses a debt it is impossible to repay. Horses in their current form evolved years ago and were domesticated. They come in all shapes and sizes, from giant Shire horse breeds to the dish-faced Arabians and the tiny miniature horses used as pets. Horses are herd animals and are highly social. They have eyes in the sides of their heads that that can almost see behind them, although they do have a small blind spot in front of their feet, in their front field of vision. Horses are used as therapy for humans who have mental and physical trauma. Horse therapy programs commonly assist veterans with PTSD and children with autism, and they visit hospitals and hospices to bring comfort. Their loving spirit, pure presence, and healing attributes make them perfect for this type of work. The magic. Horse magic is profoundly free and powerful. To ride a horse at full gallop is to experience a sacred bolt of the most primal liberty. When you are feeling trapped or small, expand your field by calling for their energy. There is also a long history in the physical and mental healing with horse energy. And this can be used when you are ill or unstable. Horse energy invokes a calm and solid presence and can be used to quiet your spirit if you are feeling disturbed. Horse magic is also an expression of trust. A powerful horse could go anywhere it wants, yet it is willing to be led. A person trusts the horse to be sure-footed, leap, and run away from danger, while the horse trusts the human to be its partner, to not hinder, to take care of it, to guide it. It can be a very deep bond if you allow it to be. If you are ever doubting yourself or feeling trapped, engage some horsepower. Expand your field by calling for their energy. That's very interesting. The symbology: woman on a horse, woman carrying a burden, women holding a child with a star upon his leg, white horses, silver and white. And I'm going to add to that Aquarian energy, because for some reason, that whole idea of the star birthmark feels very Aquarian to me. The star card is Aquarian energy, the star card from the tarot. So I'm going to add to that Aquarian energy. For me, anyway, I feel that quite heavily on this. The status: horses are of least concern. However, wastage and cruelty in the horse racing industry are issues, as is the habitat destruction of some populations of wild horses. Now, I know here in North Carolina, we have at least 2 areas where there are wild horses, and they are protected from what I understand. As is the shoreline where they roam is also protected. Okay, so now on to, this is the Hero's Journey Dream Oracle. And again, this is page, or card, I should say, 23, which, as I said, is a 5 numerologically. Trip the light fantastic. Dance with the universe. And there is a quote here from Khalil Gibran. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, Gibran. I believe he was a poet. I'm not sure. And forget not that the earth delights to feel your bare feet, and the winds long to play with your hair. There's a place within that inherently trusts the subtle and not so subtle nudges the universe sends you. Allow that place to stand as you feel your body trusting and surrendering to the rhythm of the universe. It knows when to hold firm, when to pause, and when to flow. Allow yourself to feel the universe guiding you in the sensuality of your every move. When you dance with the universe, there's no need to figure out what move will come next. Allow yourself to be pliant yet taut, nimble yet audacious, so that you might delight in your rapturous self-expression. That's a tough order for anyone who's really still moving through programming and conditioning. However, I will say that with each passing day, I feel myself moving more and more into that place where I can allow that without even thinking about it, just moving in the ways of whatever the universe has in store for me, moving towards that which brings me the highest joy in each moment that presents itself, because that is what this is speaking to here for me. There's a dream symbol of dance here. Dreams of dance represent sensual, passionate, primal self-expression as you sync up with the rhythm of your soul. This dream may be revealing your synchronicity with your inner masculine and feminine, and thus supporting you to have an even more harmonious, psychic, unified connection with the universe. This dream may be helping you to find your way to the dance floor of your life so you can let your wild, passionate self be the belle or the beau of the ball. And there is a mantra here. I celebrate each twirl, dip, and flip as I dance with the universe in ecstatic jubilation. Wow. And I say, why not? What you got to lose? Yeah. Oh, I love that. Okay. And so the final card here is Devotion to the Small, which is also a card 32. Again, a 5, which is all about change. She bows, she honors growth. She sees that within the smallest flower there is the teaching of the earth, the gospel of Gaia, the mystery of life demonstrated. She recognizes that she too is of nature, subject to the mysteries of growth and life. That in honoring nature, in taking pleasure in life, she opens her heart to allow great creation to happen through her. This is the feminine wisdom, alive in men and women with open hearts. There is an innate wisdom within you that understands this devotion to the Earth Mother, as an important step in fulfilling your spiritual destiny on this planet. She is speaking to you now, letting you know that there is a small change happening. But let's see, wait a minute. Yes, a small change happening, something that is growing within you that you may recognize but not think is so important. Yet she tells you now that it is very significant. Soon you will see that what you thought was a seed of manifestation, a gratitude and love for the small changes happening, are leading you into fullness that you can only dream of. So enjoy. The message of this oracle for you is that your blossoming is occurring now, and the Earth Mother has gratitude for your presence within her being, for the work you are doing to help other human beings. She asks for you to surrender any concern you have to her, to let her creative power continue to gently guide you into your rightful place in the world, that you may shine as you were born to do, in service to the evolution of this planet. She is helping you now. Trust her. I do feel like that's true for all of us in so many ways. Different for each, but so many different ways. A flower is a poem that tells you the truth of a thought in the fragrance of a dream, as fleeting as a heartbeat, as lasting as a memory. Wow, I really just can't get over today's reading because it feels very deep and very profound on a whole bunch of different levels. And I hope that you were able to find something within today's reading for yourself. Because I do feel like if you were here today live or if you find this later, that there is something here for you, whether you feel it now or not. Now, I know that I won't be coming here this evening, but I promise that I am going to do, because I really do miss it and I really want to do it. It's just that it hasn't worked out. And every time I even try to mention doing it, it doesn't work out. So it's going to be a complete surprise, but it absolutely will be here on Sassy Seer Sheila, the next live intuitive hangout session that I do. And so until we meet again, I hope that you will continue to move towards that which brings you joy in each moment that presents itself. It truly is just a matter of your perspective and your perception of that perspective. Until then, mwah, be well, my friends.